Welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And it's official. Dave Chappelle has put his money where his mouth is and his time where his money is, which means his time is where his mouth is. And he is actually making phone calls. He's phone banking for Andrew Yang. Actually, he did phone banking. And pretty much within a half an hour, or potentially at the time of this recording, he's actually out and about, allegedly, or as planned, we should say, knocking doors, canvassing on behalf of Andrew Yang. I like this guy because he's actually doing something with the people. Cody, tell us what's going on.
We've been covering this story, I guess, the last few days. The odyssey of, because here's the thing we've been talking about probably beyond a few days ago, is the fact that Yang has been piling up a lot of celebrity endorsements. I was basically getting one in my inbox at the press release every day for about a week straight, but a lot of them didn't turn out to be a whole. I don't say didn't turn out to be a whole lot.
Like it wasn't capitalizing on them.
But just not even capitalizing. It's just not a whole lot came of them as of now, right? So with Dave Chappelle, we've seen him. There was a very popular. I'll see if I can pull a clip up of that in a few minutes for you guys. But they had after an event and before, I believe, his first fundraising concert they had yesterday. They had a little press gaggle in the back with Dave Chappelle and Andrew Yang, though pretty viral. But then this, which I have to imagine will be this. I'm going to show you guys this is a stream highlight version of it from our friend the Felon, mainly because he has all three questions and it's the version I like. That being said, I would be dumbfounded if a higher quality version of this is not a campaign ad. Actually, so I guess in a second make a tough campaign ad.
Well, there's the one I sent you yesterday, but yeah.
Well, no, just the larger thing is the fact that, you got most people are like, oh, I know who Andrew Yang is. I like him. Oh, Dave Chappelle, awesome. It wasn't like there was that moment of someone's like, whoa, I've never heard of this guy, but Dave Chappelle, you endorse him. Anyway, We're going to play for you guys a minute right here. This is Dave Chappelle actually phone banking for Andrew Yang, though, Harvard. And this is a really cool moment.
Okay, bye-bye. I'm not going to talk to her ever again.
All right, this is the first call.
I don't know how to speak.
A little louder.
This is loud as it gets.
Hello,
Hi, I'm looking for Jamie Harkness.
this is Jamie.
Hi, Jamie. I'm calling from Andrew Yang's campaign office. Are you familiar with Andrew Yang?
I am. You're sorry.
All right. Are you? How into him are you? Like from a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being fantastic and 5 being like, how would you feel?
I could say I was like at a 3, 4, but like every day I'm like closer and closer to 5.
All right. So would you call it a 2.5?
No, higher than that.
All right.
Yeah.
Does she know he's calling?
Fantastic. All right, well, my name is David Chappelle. I'm a very famous comedian. I met in Mr. Yang's office. Right now, good friend of Kevin Hart's. And we're just trying to make sure we rally support because we got a big primary. Of course, Mr. Yang shows out well in the primary.
Okay, so all of the link, you guys can watch the whole stream. It's a lot of stuff like that. But the reason why I wanted to just play a little clip of there to show you guys that he, of course, I'm not going to sit here and pretend otherwise. That's more or less I don't say publicity stunt, but there's like 30 reporters.
No, but you pegged
recording.
it.
But at the same time, this is
You literally said in our last video on this, you said all he needs to do is show up and make 3 calls, spend 20 minutes, and then knock 3 doors, spending another 20 minutes, and it will spread like wildfire simply because he did it. Like, you pegged it, my man.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's how they do this. It's
One might call you an oracle.
No, it's just like pro wrestling, man. They'll bring these celebrity guests in. They stand there for their shot and they leave. It doesn't matter. On camera, they were there. Even though they walked him down to the same... There was a really famous moment, actually, recently at a wrestling event where they did it twice, but they put the plants in the same seat so like you could see the same people in the background. It's like, look at these celebrities. They come back 40 minutes later. Look, more celebrities. It's like, why are they... Anyways... Obviously a really cool moment for the Andrew Yang campaign to have Dave Chappelle doing something like this. I could kind of tell when they first announced it was a little bit different than some of the other ones because Dave Chappelle, basically from the story I was hearing about this, came to Andrew Yang and said, what can I do to help you, after they had an original discussion that kind of confirmed his endorsement of him. Like, he was like, oh, whatever it is, let me know. We'll see. He's, calling people on the phone for Andrew Yang. So today, I got this in as a press release from the Yang campaign, and it's really interesting because we talked about this the other day, them mentioning this, and I believe I mean they're billing it as canvassing for Andrew Yang in Charleston, South Carolina at 3 p.m. Eastern today. So that'd be like 30 minutes from now. So I don't know if he's going to be there or not. The press release also says that Dave Chappelle will not be taking questions, bold and underlined. Wow. So he is not taking questions. So I don't know. But again, if they do the same thing, he goes and knocks on 3 doors. There's a million cameras there. They capture that. They make an ad about him calling people and knocking on doors for him. Like, that is good. That's powerful, impactful stuff, especially because, again, remember, this is in South Carolina. I don't have the whole story pulled up, but definitely a place Dave Chappelle has some family roots and is well known for. I believe his father was a pastor in maybe not South Carolina, North Carolina. Either way, people know him there. And one of the reasons why I think a Dave Chappelle endorsement and him canvassing there is more impactful is it's not just some celebrity plopped out of a place in Hollywood and dropped in the middle of a random city and they're just like, hey, look at me. I mean, Dave Chappelle was actually given an award on behalf of the state house when he arrived at Andrew Yang's headquarters in Columbia, South Carolina yesterday. And they have a video over here. I'll play it with no audio. You could just see, like, the only thing I'm trying to say is that it's, while, you know, there is a kind of jaded part of me. It's like, well, it's part publicity stunt. The other thing is, though, it's not like it does not come across as disingenuous. You know, as a part of the country, Dave Chappelle has roots. He's known and is in the community, and he's obviously appreciated there. It isn't like, you know, that kind of stereotype of, you know, the Hollywood kind of jerk just showing up like, oh, you guys should do it. Hey, why don't you guys support it? You know, I mean, no offense, but, you know, it'd be like, it's different than if Katy Perry was walking around telling people to vote for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like Dave Chappelle seems to really legitimately, like, be interested in everything Andrew Yang's campaign's talking about. Like I said, they answer questions about UBI.
Well, he comes from a pretty politically active family, too.
And then just, it's the part of the country where he is, one of the parts of the country he's well known. He lives in Ohio, but still. Larger point being, it's not just some random Hollywood celebrity showing up in people's town for seemingly no reason to harass them into voting for somebody. And I think that's really interesting about it.
Yeah. So I love this. 2 reasons. First off, he did it. And second off, I wish you can't see it as well from this angle, from Fred the Felons, but I love how he said goodbye to, like, the last person that he called. He was literally like, so thanks for the call. And the person's like, oh, okay, bye. He's like, Wu-Tang. He literally just said Wu-Tang.
Who said that?
Dave Chappelle.
Oh, that's what Dave Chappelle sounds like? I didn't know that.
Dog, look, I do some impressions better than others. My Bernie is better than my Chappelle. All right. You know what I'm saying?
And then here's what I was just talking about before, where Dave Chappelle the other night was actually sitting backstage again with the kind of press gaggle talking about specifically about UBI in a lot of instances. Why he supports UBI in particular, which I would say if it would come across to me as bizarre if anyone, celebrity or not, was pushing really hard in their endorsement of Andrew Yang, but they weren't like all about, like, if UBI wasn't a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be weird to me for anyone to be like, oh, I love Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang's the greatest. And be like, UBI, like, nah, whatever. I haven't thought about it very much. Like, seeing that Dave Chappelle's actually like, no, like most people, they hear about that UBI plan and just see how it could lead to I don't know, I don't want to get too far into the philosophy of it, but it's actually a pretty good option, I think, and a lot of people think, for helping to kickstart a new middle class as the economy's shifting up like this. And seeing Dave Chappelle kind of looking and explaining why he thinks it could be helpful as well. Now, this is one thing he got in hot water for, in a particular comment, but still, I just think it again bears to, this is not a disingenuous, yeah, sure, I like him. And this is
where are you talking about where he said, I don't view Trump supporters as my enemy?
No.
Is that his hot water comment? Or are you talking about the one where he says health insurance is great, but groceries are good too?
Yeah, well, a lot of people were saying that this is proof that Andrew Yang is trying to bribe poor people with money instead of health insurance, which is, hey man, I guess that's one unique way of looking at it. But I would just say the larger thing is it's really I think what he's trying to say there, which is true. Money
is control. He's trying to give control to the poor people, not control to the government.
But also the thing is that, like, and I think he means a little bit more. Well, I take it because it's what everyone says to me. People care more about the real life issues in front of them more than what Senate's going to do with health care. That goes to the end of the line. You're thinking about groceries, you're thinking about bills, I'm thinking about current health bills, but your average person isn't spending hours a day thinking. A lot of people do, don't get me wrong, but your average voter is thinking about other things. But still, it was controversial. It caused drama, I guess more amongst the left than the right, obviously. Most people on the right probably wouldn't even think about that, but it's something Andrew Yang deals with all the time, is the fact that, hey, it's also a good thing to let everyone know. If you're going to come out here and endorse Andrew Yang and go out there and support him, you're going to be attacked for wanting to gut social safety nets and take away and get rid of
only by
Medicare
the
for all,
SJWs that
because-
fear that you're taking votes away from Bernie Sanders. Those are the only people attacking you, is the Warren psychos that are fine with liars, and then the Bernie bros who stand Bernie 24/7 and just want to start the revolution. The thing I love about Dave Chappelle's comments is that he's obviously not politically motivated. He's obviously philosophically motivated. And you can't say no to his controversial statements. Like, they're controversial, but the hilarious part is nobody has any refutation whatsoever. He literally says, look, do a poll here in Dayton, Ohio, and offer them $12,000 a year or $12,000 a year or health insurance. And guess what? They're all going to take the money, because though health insurance is great, groceries are necessary too. That's just a fact of Maslow's hierarchy of needs that will be manifest in scientific study after scientific study. And then when he goes up and he accepts his Mark Twain Award, and he's like, yeah, you know, I like this country. We're the greatest country on earth because we got the First Amendment, freedom of speech as given to you by God, not the government. And we got the Second Amendment in case the first one doesn't work out too well. Like literally, there's no civics teacher out there that would say, yeah, in the founding of our country, that's not actually what they intended, you know? So I think his controversial comments are so awesome because they're succinct, and also they're relatively irrefutable. They just like get people angry, but comedy is truth, man. Comedy is a man in trouble, but it's also observational truths that we all share. So anyway,
hold on.
That's why I liked it.
Okay, but hold on, because I'm sure you did. One other thing, because I want to ask a question. This is for the chat, for everyone, and you as well. I'm trying to pull up the full list right now, but what other celebrity endorsement Andrew Yang has would you like to see phone bank for Andrew Yang? Who else? I'll pull up the full list in a second. I'm trying to get the full list.
Elon Musk.
Okay, but Elon Musk is like more like an not artificial. That was the word. He's more of a kind of like periphery endorsement. I think he's endorsed Yang, but that's a good answer. I agree. Elon Musk.
Yeah, Elon Musk, but I wouldn't want to see him just phone banking, because comedy is very oral. Okay, so stand-up comedy and being funny with a microphone in front of you is not really that much different than being funny with a telephone in front of you. With Elon Musk, I'd like to see something like launch a satellite into space with Yang 2020 painted on the side or something. You know, I'd want to see the engineer pull off an engineering marvel instead of, you know, a comedic marvel, because he's an engineer, not a comedian. Of all the others, though, let me see. What could Terry Hatcher do?
They have a little.
It's G-rated.
There's an incomplete list that's on Spectator of his endorsements. I can tell you what I want to see. I would, and I know he's not the biggest. He's probably one of the smaller names on the list. Definitely not as big as Elon Musk. I would love for Chris Jericho to start calling people and cutting promos for Yang on people on their inbox.
Dude.
That'd be pretty cool. Also, remember, keep in mind, you have people like Penn Jillette. You talk about people who are just charismatic orators. Penn Jillette would probably be a pretty convincing person to call you and talk about Yang. Also, I think Ken Jeong, comedian, probably most well known for the Hangover films.
Yeah, I
would you say
forgot.
Hangover or Community at this point? I know him for the movie Role Models predominantly,
Yeah.
but probably the Hangover series. Either way, I think it's also interesting to note that, you know, there's a lot of people, like I said, you know, Penn Jillette, who's basically a comedian, right? Chris Jericho, you can argue he's a wrestler, but he does a lot of talking, basically a form of entertainer. I mean, there's a lot of people that endorse Yang that would be interesting to, because no offense, like, Bono's cool, but if, like, I don't feel like Bono's gonna, like, captivate me in a phone call in 90s. You know what I mean? Like,
Dude, you didn't experience the 90s, dog.
I'm just saying, he's a singer. He's not like maybe if Bono was singing to me about Andrew Yang.
Yeah,
I'd
if
be
he had
wow,
like,
but
but hold on. Do you remember when Maroon 5 crashed a bunch of weddings?
same thing. If
in their
Adam
music
Levine
video?
called me, I just have a feeling that Adam Levine talking to me about any candidate,
Dude,
despite being, wow, cool, you're famous. It'd be like something, dude, I'm like the biggest LeBron James fan. If LeBron James called me on behalf of a candidate, I don't feel like he would be this magnetic personality that transcends
Dude,
even
you
through a
want
phone. He'd
Yang
probably be
to-
like, oh, cool, LeBron, awesome.
You know, you want Yang to crush it in Iowa. Just get him him and his band on a secret, you know, just do a music video where you get him on the back of the truck and you drive through all the cool major precincts in Iowa. You know what I'm saying? Just boom, get him singing in these different places for a day. like just do a bunch of like just surprise him on campus, surprise him in the town halls, surprise him wherever. That'd be cool. That'd be totally sick.
That how you vote, man?
No, but come on, that'd be an awesome PR thing because they're generally known for showing up in predominantly urban, very large venues. If all of a sudden they're just like going to these small little podunk places and rocking it and making this 85-year-old, like, you know, old lady just shake what her mama gave her, you know what I'm saying? Then like that would be totally awesome. And I'd watch that. You wouldn't watch that, Cody?
No, I wouldn't.
No. Oh, man.
I really wouldn't. Like I said, just to get back to the idea of I think that it is really cool that Andrew Yang has a lot of personalities. I don't think he should, like, saying he should lean on. I want to put it that way. But if any of these personalities want to lend their personality to helping promote Andrew Yang, like we've seen with Dave Chappelle. Again, with Dave Chappelle, it's a little bit unique because he's somebody that also I think you kind of spoke to what I would say. There is a level of, I think, respect people have for Dave Chappelle across the country, especially in parts of the country where he's, I don't want to say retreated to, but he was like what he had like he has a show that's still one of the most beloved shows. It ran 3 seasons. People still love it. Talk about it all. I think 2 full seasons and like 1 like leftover stuff season. Like they never finished it. Like, and it's beloved and it's like this cultural social thing. And he walked away from that, took a lot of heat, spent a lot of time just in communities doing things. We put up an article before talking about how it was almost like he was like this what's from like this like folk figure where it was just like Dave Chappelle appeared at some like nightclub somewhere, like he was like, you know, and seeing him ease back into the public eye and like you said, saying things that have drawn some heat and not backing down from him. A lot of people feel like he isn't just some, like I said, I don't want to single out like someone like Katy Perry, but just you're kind of more vapid Hollywood type of just kind of like, I'm famous. It's like he brings more credence of someone who maybe because he's a stand-up comedian, we look at them as people who aren't just reading lines that the people gave them. No offense to actors, but as people who actually think of things and go out to the world. But I don't know. Kind of went a little bit long on there saying that. I think it's really cool seeing what Dave Chappelle did, and I would love to see someone else do something like this for Andrew Yang. Mainly because, holy cow, is it an easy way to get some cheap, I don't say cheap, but this is some pretty good publicity, having Dave Chappelle call people on your behalf. I love that there was I think 2 of the people he called. One was going to his show that night, and the other, his brother, was going to the show that night. So it also
well, that's the one where he said, "Yeah, Wu-Tang," when he said goodbye. When he was like, "Oh," and she says, "Oh, you're Dave Chappelle? Yeah, I'm going to your show tonight." And he's like, "Oh, you're going to my show too." You know, and he's like, "Well, hey." So like that one was awesome.
Like I said, I'll have the link for you, but of 2 of the 3 calls, one was going to the show, the other was standing there going to the show, and I think the third person had not heard, as you guys heard, had not heard of Dave Chappelle, which is really funny to me. Sorry, I hadn't heard of him, but imagine how funny was that. I want to highlight that too. I can't leave that. There was Dave Chappelle called somebody in South Carolina, and they knew who Andrew Yang was, but they didn't know who Dave Chappelle was. Isn't that kind of funny? I think also speaks pretty well for what Andrew Yang, again, those are the numbers they gave him to call. It's not random people in the phone book. But still, that kind of cracked me up, the idea of Dave Chappelle calling someone to be like, "Oh, Andrew Yang, I know who he is." Like, "Oh, yeah, I'm Dave Chappelle." I don't know who that is.
Yeah. That must be like such a total letdown sometimes. You're just like, oh, you know, like you don't know who I am. And by the best is, I didn't see that one where he said he did. I think I saw the first and the third phone call. So I didn't see the one where somebody didn't know who he was. Wouldn't that be the worst if you're like, "Yeah, I'm world famous comedian," and the person's like, "Never heard of you." You're like, "Oh, dang it."
It happens to everyone, man. You'd be surprised. There's people, think of the most famous person in the world to you. They could probably walk up to somebody somewhere and they'd be like, "Oh, I don't know who you are."
Actually, no. Jesus. Nobody has any idea what he looks like. Book of Isaiah said that he's not good looking and he's short.
I was talking
That's
of like,
it.
I was talking of like conventional active American or English Anglo people. Like a celebrity, people would recognize him. My larger point I'm being to. For example, I would say it'd be pretty hard to not recognize, like, let's just pull a couple actors out, like I would
Shakira,
yeah. But you even look at, like, I would say like Tom Cruise, Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman, like people who's been acting forever. Robert De Niro. You'd think like people know who people are, but a lot of people just
actually,
like,
I think some of these guys,
I don't know who people are. It's funny, but it happens. Not very often, but it happens.
Yeah. So anyway, I love it when I see people put their money where their mouth is, regardless of your political stripe. I absolutely love it when I see people put their money where their mouth is. whether it's tithing at church, whether it's canvassing for your political person, whether it's volunteering at a charity that you feel strongly about. I just love it. And I think nobody's above it. So when celebrities do it, I just think, boom, my man. I knew there was a reason why I like Dave Chappelle. That, and then also I was born and bred on his comedy because my dad was like Dave Chappelle's biggest fan. So anyway, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. If you haven't had a chance yet, please like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And also make sure that you hang out with us tonight in our live stream. It's going to start around 5:30, so make sure you hang out. Get ready for that. And follow us on Instagram at Problem Solver Politics or on Twitter at PSP Radio 1. This is Problem Solver Politics. We'll see you guys in the next video.